morning and welcome to the monthly all-employee safety meeting. I'd like to start this meeting by turning the floor over to Rick Barrett, the CEO of the company. Rick, it's all yours.
Great. Thank you, George. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I'm going to start out with the slide that we typically start these meetings with, and it's the purpose, vision, values slide. Give us just a second here in Longmont to connect to the monitor. Rob is frantically trying to figure it out.
Take your time. Take your time. We actually have a couple extra minutes built into our timeline this morning.
Trying that this is not being. The meeting, George's invite is the one that we'll want to be on.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. There's two meetings out there. Beverly's old meeting, the meeting I've sent out. Beverly will get hers deleted, but unfortunately it wasn't done in time for this meeting this morning.
Okay. I think we've got our technical issues worked out. So on this purpose, vision, core values slide, I'd like to emphasize this when we get together as a team, and I think it adds a little bit of clarity around what it is we're trying to accomplish as a company. The purpose is really the problem that we're trying to solve as a business. I've mentioned in the past this basic concept that we make water better, and it's really everything that we touch and all the activities that we're involved with as a company are really designed to take dirty water and make it cleaner. And whether that's potable water for consumption, or whether it's wastewater that we're treating for discharge or reuse, we're taking dirty water and we're making it better. That is our purpose. We also have an economic purpose, which is to operate a business profitably and to provide the investors and owners of the company a reasonable return on their investment. So that's in a nutshell, that's the purpose of our company. In terms of the vision is what we aspire to become. And for us, we want to be the premier provider of water and wastewater treatment solutions in the United States. That's the vision for the company. And we're developing a plan to accomplish this, which I'll be sharing more on here in the coming weeks. In terms of core values, these are the convictions that we hold as a company as well as individuals in terms of the way that we plan to pursue our purpose and achieve the vision. And the terms that we've identified as describing our core values are pioneering, purposeful, passionate, accountable, and respectful. This is the way that we want to operate. This is how we want to be seen. This is what we want to hold ourselves to. Okay, George, that's my intro. I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. I appreciate that. And I'll go ahead and kick off our regional updates with an update on Texas. Don is on an airplane right now in the air, so he won't be able to provide this update. But we did not have any incidents over the previous week or month in Texas there. We did close out a couple of projects. The 42nd Street Pump Station, Carriage House, Lometa, and Salado were all closed out. There were no bids submitted. And projects that, well, there was one project submitted, and that is the Fate Pump Station project. So that's what we have for Texas. I'll turn it over to Christian for Rocky Mountains, and then on to Terry for the West. Go ahead,
I've got
guys.
I got a couple of quick updates here related to Texas I wanted to share. One is a fairly significant one that we met with the Texas leadership team in regard to last week, and it has to do with Murray Holden. For those that are not aware, Murray has decided to leave the company. You know, somewhat of a disappointment in terms of you know, not having him here going forward, but one that I think is in the best interest of him personally. We have a plan here, which I announced last week to the Texas team, which involves Michael Gay taking over the Texas region. Michael Gay, for those of you that haven't had an opportunity to work or to interact with Michael, Michael has been responsible for turning around the St. Vrain project here over the last 6 months or so. Really has performed outstandingly, has a terrific background in order to help kind of lead our Texas group. You know, as I shared with the team, Texas has a lot of talented people, really have performed well, and I think this transition will be a smooth one. And I'm excited about what the future has in store for us in Texas. So I did want to share that this morning and make that official announcement. Okay, Christian.
Right.
So from the Rocky Mountain side of thing, safety is going fairly decent. In Colorado, we are now at 857 days without a recordable. In New Mexico, 442, which is good. The only concern that I've seen based on what I'm hearing in the field is that wearing our standard PPE has lacked a little bit in our employees and subcontractors. So I know within the region there is an emphasis now to ensure that we're starting with the basics, which is standard PPE and housekeeping, because that leads into good safety, good quality, and a good overall job site. If your job looks like a trash can, for lack of better terms, and our employees or subs are not wearing PPE, it doesn't reflect well. So that's in safety. Prior closeout, we'll continue to close out our Bloomfield, Belen, Santa Fe, and St. Vrain jobs. We're hoping that those are closed out here in the next month or two, and then move on into newer jobs and focus on the future. For bids submitted, in the last 10 days, we submitted 2 pretty good jobs totaling about $20 million that will go here for a couple of years here in Colorado. They were CMAR jobs, and we should be hearing results on those by the end of the week, hopefully by Friday. So for project bidding, there will not be any other jobs bidding at the moment like this week. Depending on the results of Friday, then we will determine where we need to fill up. And then we're waiting for a couple of jobs, the Sky Ranch job and the Rail Park job, as well as the Jellystone job, to kick off here, hopefully this summer, and some of them will go into the fall. So we got a good backlog. We probably need a job more or two to start here sooner, but that's a quick update on the Rocky Mountains.
Great, thank you.
All right, Terry.
All right, good morning. Sorry for the noise in the car. We had a rainy month. We mostly worked in O'Connor down in Menlo Park doing their magnesium removal system. That should finish up here in May. We are getting ready to go back to Newhall in Southern California, and then up to Auberge in Napa County to do the pond liner replacements. And we'll also get back to Heritage as soon as the ground dries out to finish testing out the drain fields on that project. We lost 2 bids in Napa County. one at Round Pond Winery and the other for the city of Napa at their wastewater plant. We turned in another week ago at the U.S. Naval Base at Coronado for electroplating treatment system RO, and waiting to hear on that. The two Indian casinos, North Fork and Tejon, are heating up, and we're preparing another bid this week down in San Diego for the University of California, San Diego, their research institute to control seawater usage some way, somehow. And we're also have another small proposal for Domaine Chart Chandon, which is another winery in California, Napa County. That's it. Oh, safety-wise, perfect. Thank you.
All right, great. Terry, Christian, appreciate the updates on that. Rick, appreciate the update on Texas. Our safety moment for April is on chemicals and the procedures and tools we have readily available to aid in our safe handling of chemicals. There's chemicals you're working with, all right? If you go to the support center and you click on the Right to Know tab, you'll see a downloadable file that represents every known chemical in our chemical inventory. These files are the safety data sheets for the chemicals, okay? Everything you need to know about a chemical is going to be located in this safety data sheet here. An SDS, or safety data sheet, it both serves in a proactive and reactive purpose, okay? For instance, if somebody's been exposed with carbon monoxide, we can use the SDS to resource the emergency response and treatment measures we need to take to prevent further injury to that person. You know, a couple of days ago, we had a first aid injury reported where a worker mixed Clorox bleach and electrolytes to create a chlorine gas that would be used to test a fire alarm sensor. This would be a really good time to resource the Right to Know Center and make sure you have the proper PPE, the proper training, that you can perform the task of creating chlorine gas with everything you need to do it. You will find that inside of that safety data sheet, okay? And this is how this is how we use the Right to Know Center in a proactive manner to prevent injury, to prevent mishandling of chemicals. The center is also, it serves as a reactive resource so that we can identify the means necessary to contain a spill or to treat a victim of a poisoning or to fight a fire. Or how do we conduct an evacuation? Many times I've been asked by a care provider to send a safety data sheet off to the hospital treating the victim so they know how to treat the victim, all right? But the Right to Know Center, it does us no good at all if the chemicals we have in our operations are not present in this library. I'm probably fairly certain we don't have all of our chemicals in this library. Looking at the Right to Know Center on the day of the injury, we had chlorine bleach present, but we did not have the chlorine the chlorine gas and the electrolyte solution present in the Right to Know Center. So what should we do in this case? We're working with a chemical, or we're about to create a new a gas, and we don't have the SDSs we need. Well, if you go to the Right to Know Center and you look there, the very first thing you're going to see in this library is an SDS request form. All right. If you click this link, you can request an SDS, or you can share an SDS that we might not have if you have it on site. If the safety department receives this request, we'll stop what we're doing immediately, and we're going to get that SDS to you, and we're going to get it up in the support center, and we're not going to let you get held up on this little technicality. We will react very quickly to your needs there. Okay. So with all that known, anytime a worker is going to interact with chemicals, all right, there are 4 questions that must be answered in the affirmative before we proceed. in working with those chemicals. Do I have the right training, right? The SDS will tell you what kind of training you need. What is the plan, right? So our safety orientation, our SDS, for the training, the JHA is a really critical tool in building our plan on how we're going to move forward with this task working with chemicals. All right, have I mitigated the hazards? The JHA is going to give you an opportunity to go through all the hazards present and make sure they're mitigated, right? And then what will I do if something doesn't feel right or look right? That's our stop word. That's our good catch. These are 4 quick critical questions that we need to ask before working with chemicals. And this is a really great segue into the heart of our safety management system, or what we would call this, the company safety program. All right. So if we look at the company safety program, we'll notice that it's comprised of 3 key disciplines of safety. Okay, we have our goal. We all know what our goal is. Our goal is 0 accidents and 0 harm. All right. Well, then we have these leading measures. In the past, you've heard me talk about 3 leading measures. I added 1 critical leading measure to our leading measures. So now we have 4. We have training. Training in large part will come from our safety orientation, our toolbox talks, our safety training modules, and meetings like the one we're having right now. All right. We've got our planning. Okay. Those are our morning safety meetings when we get together and we build our plan utilizing our job hazard analysis as kind of a format to get us through those. All right, we've got to make sure that that planning occurs in a way that it identifies and it mitigates our hazards utilizing our JHA and conversation. All right. And then the 4th leading measure is our stop work, or our good catch. I'm going to touch on that stop work a little bit later in this presentation. Okay. And then the 3rd discipline of safety is our scorecard. Our scorecard is where our accountability comes from, right? Everybody on this call listening right now wants to win at what we're doing here in the company, right? If the scoreboard isn't readily visible from the playing field, the players on the field won't know if they're winning. You all, the workers out in the field, you won't know if you're winning at meeting our goal and doing your part to get to our goal if you can't look up and see the scorecard. You won't even know what adjustments are needed or how to get back on a winning track if we don't have a scoreboard to look at. So let's take a little closer look at each one of these 4 disciplines or leading measures that we just talked about. All right. I sent out an email the other day. It was on Friday afternoon, I believe. It was subject line was new safety assignment, action required. It emphasized 5 action items that are required of every project and every employee starting this week. Every worker needs to jump in and complete their safety orientation. Okay, that safety orientation, it also acts as our annual safety awareness training. Okay, every shift should start with a safety meeting that incorporates a job hazard assessment that includes the anticipated activities of the day. The 3rd thing is all high-risk activities should have a separate JHA performed. So when you go out for your safety meeting in the morning and you do your JHA for the day's activities, if you have a permit activity such as excavation that's separate of those daily activities, or an individual project aside from that, maybe it's chemicals, working with chemicals, maybe it's a hot work project. Those individual high-risk projects should have a JHA of their own conducted. Okay. The 4th action item is stop work events. We need to record those good catches, those stop works using our good catch form. And I'll introduce you to that form here in just a minute. Okay. And then the 5th action item that came out was the toolbox talks need to be shared among the team. So on Sunday afternoon, I'll be sending out a toolbox talk every week for a Monday review. This will be based on recent events, recent incidents, important subjects that need to be reviewed on Monday morning. Then regular toolbox talks should be shared throughout the week in your job planning safety meetings in the mornings. Okay. A couple of things to know when you're taking the safety orientation that are really important, okay? The first question you're going to see when you open the orientation is this question right here, okay? Do you read and understand English? And it's okay if you don't. Go ahead and just click the no option here in this box, and it will actually direct the attendee on to a registration form for the safety orientation to be presented in a different language if that's what we need to do. And we'll also have online presentations that I'll be giving here in this video style format, so that we can get this message and this training in the right way to everybody, okay? And then the second question that's going to be asked is, what type of safety orientation do you need? This is a pretty important piece right here. So each selection in here will trigger a different smart logic that will arrange the orientation to best suit the needs of the individual attending the orientation, okay? I'm going to give you an example of this, okay? The new hire field employee, if that is selected, this is where the attendee is notified that they need to do an on-site, in-person orientation with the project superintendent or their designate, and they'll take this new worker on a site tour. They'll make introductions to the team. They'll introduce site-specific hazards and conditions and controls that are in place. And it's okay if the new hire selects this and goes through the orientation and they're not present on that job when they do the orientation, because what we've got here built into this system, and it's really important for everybody to know this, is that there is an edit function available in every single submission that comes out here, okay? If you're involved in any event that results in an auto submission, which is going to happen a lot in our new safety program, you will have an edit function made available to you. So this new hire can finish his orientation and hit submit and go back out to the work site, and we're going to know when he gets there that he has not yet done that in-person orientation with the manager, and we can get that done then, and we can note that by using this edit. All right, so if you're involved in a incident report or a good catch or anything else where the facts have been misrepresented and you see them in that report, you don't need to call me or email me and say, hey, that needs to be changed. Just go click the edit it yourself. All the stakeholders will be informed that an edit has been occurred, and the system will log you as the author of the edit. This system, just so everybody knows, this system loves interaction with people, and it's designed around interaction with people. All right. So once you've submitted your orientation, you're going to receive an auto response that will allow you to see if you got any of the test answers wrong. I'm going to use Troy's result as an example. You know, an interesting little side note here. We had 7 employees jump in and help us test this system out to make sure everything was working properly. Thanks, guys. You know who you were. Troy was the first person to take the safety orientation outside of that test run. And so when Troy took this orientation, he selected the office worker option. So he only received the sections of the orientation template that apply to the office workers. In his test result auto response, Troy sees that he has sections in there that he failed every answer on. All right. That's because there were only certain questions available or sections available to Troy. OK, please ignore these entire sections where you'll see these red marks, because if you go into edit, you won't find those sections in your orientation. What you're looking for is you're looking for these little one-off discrepancies like this bottom example right here, where you've got some right answers and some wrong answers. Those are the answers that you missed, and you have an opportunity to go in and retake those. OK. It's a great function we have available to us so that we can all hopefully get 100%. 90% is the threshold on these orientations, but we should always strive for 100%. All right, and we're going to move on now to the job hazard analysis. I'm getting a lot of questions about, hey, we're already doing a job hazard analysis in Procore. Can I stick with Procore? Can we stick with what we're doing? Guys, I'm going to ask the entire company as of right now to please move your JHA process over to our new JHA form, and let's start using this process. It's thorough. It addresses all of our known safety talking points that could be present in your daily activities. The punch list items, as you see them here, are there to provide you with important talking points. If a condition is present in your workplace, you should click the radio button, cuss and discuss it with your crew, and move on to the next one. At the end of the process, you should click the submit button. The nice thing about this form is the edit function. You can go back into the form and you can add people as needed. You can even change the plan if the scope of the work changes. So you can change your JHA to modify to parallel with your new plan or the change of plan. One single form submission in the morning can be edited an infinite number of times to meet the needs of your plan or to match or parallel the needs of your plan. There's no need to scan and upload documents. Just use this form as your job hazard analysis sandbox, and the final product will automatically be associated over to your project in Procore by the safety department. We'll take care of that, okay? So reach out to me individually if you have more questions about where we're going to do our JHAs, but we all need to move to one system company-wide so that we can have the proper document management, tracking, and high level of assurance that we're addressing all hazards and all controls. All right, moving on to Toolbox Talks. Toolbox Talks are located in the training tab of the support center. The safety department will share the one a week, like I told you, for a Monday morning review. And the projects, you all should incorporate regular Toolbox Talks into your normal safety meetings. What people need to understand too is the Toolbox Talk is an awareness training action that we take. It is important that we document this training via the Toolbox Talk training registration form. As seen right here, when you go into your Toolbox Talks, you'll see a Toolbox Talk training registration form. And the nice thing here is we're not asking for a bunch of information in there. We can actually use conditional logic, smart logic, to go in and identify what projects people were on when this talk was performed. To identify who was present. All we ask is for initials. Okay, that's all you have to put in. No signatures, just initials. Okay. So with all that being said, we're going to, all of this information that we've just talked about, these 5 items that we've just reviewed, these efforts are going to be monitored, measured, and translated into a weekly safety performance scorecard that is presented in the scorecard tab of the support center. The performance indicators that are being shown there right now is what we have produced on accident, guys. There's no reality associated with this other than where we are right now, okay? And you know what I'm going to tell everybody right now as your safety director? I am okay with where we sit right now. We see a bunch of zeros up there. You probably think, why would a safety director say that? I'm okay with where we are now, but I won't be okay if this is where we are next week, because everything we do has got to have a big focus on continual improvement, okay? And so now it's up to us to intentionally influence these numbers. Let's get these numbers to 90% or higher status by placing a focus on our training, our planning, our hazard mitigation, and our stop work, the things we talked about here today. All right. I want to thank everybody for attending this meeting. From this point forward, these meetings will be presented at the support center in the presentations tab with these talking points. So you and your crews can go back in and you can see what the expectations are that were presented here today, and you can follow up to make sure those expectations are met. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate your hard work. And we look forward to seeing you here again next month. Thanks.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye-bye.
Y'all have a good day.
Thank you, George.
Thanks, Rick.